What's going on, guys? And I'm again back from a long break, and it's been nearly 6 months since I uploaded a new video. But the reason behind it is some stuff's been going on, but right now I've cleared it all and it's time to make some new videos, and trust me, I won't be taking this long of a break ever again. So to kick things off, I am making a simple image slider using only HTML and CSS for this video, and that it will be going to look like this. So let's move on to our coding part of the CSS, where I have already typed in the tags in the HTML. So I have main div with the class name of container, and inside that two divs with the class name of slider and image. So the image is going to be the tree and it will appear here, don't worry about it. So in the body I have centered everything, and you can see that effect when I start typing in. So the padding is 0, margin is 0, so no scrolls will appear, and I center everything using flex and the background color of this nice blue here. So let's kick things off with the image. We can just with not the image, so I've just typed in this background image here so that I won't have to reach and get the link again. So let's start with the container, and then I'm gonna give it a position of relative. That means both the slider and the image div will be following its height and width properly. So height is gonna be 300 pixels, you can use whatever value you want, but I'm using this, and width will be 250 pixels. Alright, it's nice. And then in the image tag, now we are using it with a background image, which means you can add image using CSS. So we don't need to specify the image tag right here, and that will allow us to modify the file a bit more conveniently. So I've used background image and then URL, and inside the brackets we should use double quotes, which you should keep in note. Without the double quotes it won't work, and then the link of the image. Alright, now to make it appear we need to specify its height and width. So remember, I've used position relative, so we can use this height 100. There we go. Right now even the image is starting to show up, and width 100%. Well, actually we don't need the width here. Okay, now the image is showing here because it knows the height is 300 pixels and the width will be automatically adjusted, which is by default. So we don't need to specify the height, we can either specify height or and width. So let me just show here width. Seems to be some problem. Anyway, we will get into that later, but we can just use position. Actually, background position to see the tree. Background position, and then center. So we will see the center of the image. There we go. We can see the center of this image. And background size is gonna be cover, which is basically right now it's the default. So let me just show you some other properties. Contain, and there we go. My problem is my spelling errors. So contain means it will actually take up the actual size of the image and then repeats it if it doesn't fit properly. So cover if you use it, there we go, it will cover the maximum height and width allocated to it. So before that the cover ain't working, and I mistakenly said that it is by default. I'm sorry about that, but it was actually a spelling error, which you should always keep in note. My little tip. Alright, now we need to use the slider. So slider, and then I'm gonna give it a height of 100% and a width of 100%, which will also mean it will take up the height and width specified in the container. And then I'm gonna give it a background round image of linear gradient, which is basically a gradient, and then to bottom right, which means it will specify where to which point it should blend in, and then I will give it a green and a lime color. Pretty simple. There we go. Now we have our nice little gradient which moves from here to here. Alright, now as you can see, they are both separate. To make it collapse, we need to use position absolute, and there we go. Where is the image? Well, let me show you. Opacity to 0, which is transparency of the slider, and there we go. It is basically underneath the slider. So let me just keep a slight opacity here, 0.8. There we go. We can barely see it, and it looks nice. But to make the slider effect come into play, we need to use dot container. So whenever I hover the container, dot slider, which is our green thing right here, is gonna move to the left. So width 0%. So which means whenever I click it, the width will go from 100% to 0%, which means it will occupy no width. There we go. It is just diminishing. But to see the effect properly, we need to put a transition effect. Okay, transition of 0.5 seconds, 0.5 seconds, and which means whatever comes under the slider name will all get, whatever properties come under the slider name will all get this transition effect. There we go. Now we have successfully used a basic hover effect and a transition effect to make this cool slider effect. And that's it. It looks like a window opening. Maybe it's just me, but I hope you all enjoyed the video and learned something new on the way. Until the next video, goodbye, which will be coming soon.